Hey guys, MJ675 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at these two Stormtrooper figures I have on the screen. And if you're wondering what we'll be doing today, the one on the left here is the older helmet design, as you can see from the side profile, and the one on the right here is the newest version. And today, as if you read the title, my hope is to compare these two side by side to really see what's different about specifically the helmet. So yeah, first we'll take a look at both these figures, and I'll give my thoughts and opinions on it at the end. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Just for clarification, the two figures that I have here are on the left the most recent Stormtrooper with the old helmet design, which I believe was from the Rogue One sets, is where I pulled this one specifically from. And then the one on the right is from the recently released 20th anniversary Imperial dropship. So hopefully I will review that set in the future, but I do have the figures from it. So yep, so we'll be taking a look at these. As far as the printing goes, we'll just talk about this briefly. It's more or less the same between the two figures, if you can tell really anything. The only major differences between these two figures are some slightly thicker lines in some places and some slightly more grayish printing, but more or less everything is pretty much the same between these two figures, except for the helmets. Even the underneath the helmets are the same face. So yep, there we go. So without further ado, let's just take a look at these helmets. Starting out from the front here, you can already see quite a few differences between these two. This one does have quite a lot of printing, which is mostly just printing, and you can kind of see from the side there that some of that's more actual detailing. But a lot of the printing on this helmet, like the visor and such like that, and there's a few other things, but a lot of those on this newer version are actually molded in elements. Like the visor here, you can see it has a bit of depth to it there. It is a bit more reflective than the print is. So that is a dual molded element right there. The newer helmets are dual molded, as you can kind of see with the black going around the sides and the back. These are dual molded helmets, whereas the older ones are just single molded with pretty much all the detailing printed on, whereas these ones do have a bit of stuff as actual other parts that are all as one piece. So really the main difference between these two helmets, I'd say, is shaping, and that's not really something that's the easiest to describe to you. I think it's better if you just see it. There's also some printing detailing, which is a bit different here. They printed these two little indents on the newer helmet, but they didn't on the older helmet. So yeah, again, more detailing on the newer helmet. They moved this down and forward a bit from the older one. This is a bit smaller on the newer one, and they included this little print here, and pretty much the vents on the sides are the same. And then on the front, again, pretty similar. You have the visor whole area printed, including the sort of depth line for the goggles or whatever that go over this. So pretty much all the stuff right around here in the front is actually detailed on with dual molding. This sort of vent right here is printed on both of these, and then these are a kind of a combination of some dual molding, some printing, and some mold on this, and this one's pretty much more or less just printed with a bit of molding to help get the features across, but again, very different. And we already talked about all the rest of it. So as far as the function of the helmet, this one you can turn slightly. You know, you can, I know I'm moving the whole thing, but if you wanted to, you can get, you know, maybe a little bit of motion out of this guy. You know, not great, but not terrible. And this one is a little bit worse for turning the head. You can't really get any motion out of him. You can get maybe a millimeter or so to each side, but that's really all you get with this guy. And if we were to take off the helmets and look at the inside, let's see if it focuses. But yeah, as you can see, this one is pretty much just a single molded element. My camera wants to focus on the angry clone face, but yeah, this is pretty much just a single element that goes on top of the head. And if we were to take off this one, which is quite a lot harder to do, you can see the black on the inside of here and the white kind of on the outside. There's some places where the white goes inside as well, but it's mostly just black, and that's due to the dual molding. Black piece is showing through some of the pieces, the parts of the white piece, which are molded together to make one piece that is a whole cohesive thing, and that's the helmet design. So Pretty much that's really more or less all that there is to talk about as far as these helmets go, from just a showing you and sort of just analytical perspective, I guess, just as far as what there is to see here. So that's pretty much all the unbiased information there between these two helmet designs and really these two figures, for that matter. So there you go. So yeah, as far as my opinion goes, again, the point of this video is to show you what there is to allow you to make up your own mind about whether or not you like the newer figure, the older figure more. I will say just one thing before I get into my opinion. These figures look, at least the new one, looks very different between printing on magazines and boxes and stuff and, you know, YouTube videos versus actually having it in your hand. There's something about having it or seeing it in hand that is really just different than all those things. And yeah, that's really all I'm going to say about that, but I'll just say it's very different of an experience to have this looking at the printed version or having the actual figure in hand like I do in this video. Obviously that's not really something I can easily replicate for you guys, but if you do manage to get the newer figure in hand, you'll probably figure out exactly what I mean, that it's a very different experience of looking at this thing just on another medium versus actually having it. So as far as that is concerned, that's really the first of my opinion, is that these look different based on what you're looking at them through, but that's kind of true with a lot of stuff. And as far as my opinion on which one I like more, honestly, I still like the old one just a little bit more. I will admit that the newer version of this helmet has grown on me a bit since I've gotten it. As it looks, in my opinion, it looks pretty terrible on all the printing and videos and stuff that I've seen it in displays and various things. It looks pretty terrible there, but actually having it in hand and getting to have a few of these guys, I mean, it's kind of maybe like this helmet design a little bit more, but at the same time, I still don't like it as much as the newer one. I still don't like it as much as the older one, rather. So there you go. That's kind of my opinion on this. I still like the older one, but the newer one is not as terrible as it looks. If you don't like it when you're just looking at it, don't worry. It's a little bit better to hold it in hand, but still, I think that the older one is a bit nicer from a look perspective to me. Because I think that overall the thing that really makes me not like this is just the size of it. It's quite a lot larger, as you can see, than the other one. It definitely comes out a bit more at the back here and the front as well than this one does, and you can't turn it as much because it's bigger. Also, it is very slightly taller than the original one. If you can see that, maybe it's just how I have the figures. Actually no, it's just a bit shorter, so that's probably why I don't like this as much. It's also quite a bit wider, as you can tell, is that they've messed with the proportions of this helmet quite a lot while they did the upgrade to it. But, you know, I kind of have come to accept with this helmet design, not like the Rebel Pilot helmet, that we're probably not going to see the old one anytime soon, because this one seems to be doing fine. And I said the same thing pretty much with the Rebel Fleet Trooper, not the Rebel Fleet Trooper, just the Rebel Troop helmet, the Rebel Pilot, what am I saying, the Rebel Pilot helmet when I made that video. Well, I've pretty much been eating my words ever since I made that video, so hopefully we keep this helmet for a few more sets so that I don't have to eat my word as much as I did on that video. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. Let me know what you guys think of the newer helmets in the comments section down below. I like the older one a bit better, but that's just my opinion, and I think I've laid out why I like that, in addition to it, me having more of them in this video as well. But just reinforcing, just kind of restating what I said, the new one's not bad. If you want to get a Stormtrooper army and you don't have any older sets, you know, don't go out of your way necessarily to collect the older helmet design. It's just much easier to collect the newer one, and it doesn't look terrible, but I think that just seeing these next to each other and me being used to the older one, this new one just looks a little bit off-putting to me. Not as bad as it looked before I got one in hand, but still not great. So that's going to wrap up my opinions and thoughts as far as looking at these helmets go, and it will actually wrap up my video about these two helmets and comparing them. So let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Which helmet do you like better and why? You know, I'd love to read your guys' opinions on that. So yeah, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm posting some stuff eventually. So yeah, I don't like to do the subscribe shill, but you know, it pays sometimes. Not anymore, but it used to pay. So that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe or not, I don't really mind. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.